and gentlemen, please welcome Adobe CEO Shantanu Narayan.
Good morning. Wasn't that an incredible video? Let's give a round of applause to the creative team that put that together. Welcome to Las Vegas and our largest MAX ever. In fact, as much as we can tell, we think this is the largest gathering of talented creative professionals that there has ever been in one room any time in history. Thank you all for being here. Two weeks ago, as we all know, a celebration of music here in Las Vegas ended tragically in an act of senseless violence. We would like to extend our heartfelt sympathy to all of the victims in this recent tragedy and all of their families. Please join all of us in contributing to the National Compassion Fund in their honor. I think it's in moments like this that it's even more critical that we all come together as a creative community to both find solace and to inspire positive change. We are living, though, in an incredible point of time in our history. It's the dawn of the 21st century Renaissance, where art and science, human and machine, are fueling an age of explosive growth and opportunity. When we think about the Renaissance of the 15th and 16th centuries, it was marked by individuals with a desire to push the boundaries of human ideas, creativity, and science. We all know that artists developed breakthrough ideas in painting and sculpture and in architecture, and scientists discovered new truths in astronomy, physics, and mathematics. We have geniuses like Leonardo da Vinci who did both. They painted the Mona Lisa, and they designed a flying machine. We think today's Renaissance also promises new heights in human potential and experimentation. Design and creativity have never been more important. However, this time, we think that we have the opportunity to create and innovate on a global connected scale, and it's available to every single one of us. We have an activist who can inspire global action with the reach of social media and the power of just a big idea. We have a child with a camera phone and access to YouTube who can reach more people than a major media outlet. And we have photojournalists who can move us by capturing an entire story in just a single image. At Adobe, we've always worked to remove technology barriers to human creativity and connection because we believe fundamentally that every one of us has a story to tell. In the 35-year history, we have ushered in breakthroughs in print, in illustration, in web, and in video. But we're entering a new era of art and invention that's powered by technology that we think is staggering in its size and its scope. And we want to empower professionals like you to do things that were never possible before, faster, more intuitive, and with better results. But we also want to make creativity more accessible and more intuitive to individuals who aren't professionals, whether they're students, whether they're office workers, or people who simply are looking for a better way to communicate. And as we define the next generation of creativity for all of us, there are three fundamental principles that are guiding us as a company in everything we do. First, we will always be at the leading edge of new content innovation for you. Digital media delivery and consumption has exploded, and it's not just on a computer or a TV screen. Now, whether it's the gas pump or the store aisle or your car's dashboard or the airplane seat in front of you. And with augmented reality and virtual reality, it's now also floating in the space surrounding us in 3D. Your canvas is everywhere in a way that was never possible before, and every story can reach every single surface. Our challenge is no longer having trouble reaching people with your work, it's actually having too many ways to reach them. The surfaces may change, but our commitment to you remains the same. We will put the best, the most powerful, and the most intuitive tools in your hands so you can push your creative frontiers. Second, we're dedicated to helping you unleash this creativity. We think technology is going to be the paint, the clay, the pencil, and film of this creative era. But until now, we've all been tethered to our mouse and our desk in order to do this creation. We think you should be able to work wherever inspiration strikes, with a brush, with a finger, through your voice, as well as body gestures. You may want to work alone, or you may want to work with an entire department in your studio or wherever you think inspiration will strike. And we're reworking all of our products to put the millions of assets at your fingertips, to make mobile apps work more seamlessly with desktop apps, to make them more flexible with new types of user interfaces, and even letting you tell your story in 360 degrees. We are trying to reimagine the entire creative process so you can create the way you want to. You've heard a lot about artificial intelligence, or AI, and much of it is scary. But we believe that artificial intelligence is going to be an amplifier and not a substitute for human creativity. No one ever wanted to do in 3 hours what they could do in 3 minutes or 3 seconds. And for what humans can't do, or what they prefer not to do, we think artificial intelligence will evolve to help you fill that need. Machines can see patterns and possibilities that we may not be able to see immediately. And our artificial intelligence technology, which is Adobe Sensei, is going to be different in that it's going to harness the collective intelligence of the entire creative community, learning from you and the hundreds of millions of people who use our products, as well as the assets that we have in Creative Cloud. It will try and understand what you want to do. It'll anticipate what you need and what you have done personally with our tools, as well as the millions of other creatives who have done the same task. And we think Adobe Sensei can tackle the complexities of today's challenges so that you have the freedom to focus on tomorrow's possibilities. We think creativity is not just for individuals. It matters in businesses too, because every business today must compete for the hearts and minds of their customers with every click and with every interaction across every digital device. Experience matters more than it's ever done before. And at the core of every great experience is content. Beautiful content, dynamic content, simple content, and clear content. And that content needs to be as clear and relevant to the consumer, and that requires a tremendous amount of data. And we believe that when we can put art and science to work, magic will happen. Getting the right message to the right person takes a massive amount of content. And that's putting incredible pressure on all of the creative organizations. And so we're focused on not just creation, but iteration and management and delivery, testing and measurement of this entire end-to-end experience. And we're the only company that helps businesses put content and data together at a scale. Our business is at the nexus of art and science. We create technology that helps bring compelling, immersive digital experiences into being. Experiences that are formed by insights, they're supported by data, and they're brought to life through powerful creations and delivered when it matters the most. Today marks the biggest release of new products in Creative Cloud since we first launched it 5 years ago. And we hope you'll see that the innovations that we're going to provide today are nothing short of incredible. For our product and engineering teams, nothing is as satisfying as seeing a customer use and enjoy the product that they slave to develop. And having customers like you in this room who are at the leading edge of your craft, it's as good as it gets. We want to help you take your art and craft to a level that has previously not been imagined. And we want to do our part to develop an advanced technology that will make it easier for all of us, no matter what our skills are, no matter what our circumstances are, to tell our story. Because the more we can empower everyone to participate in this 21st century renaissance, the more we at Adobe realize our mission, which is to help change the world through digital experiences. Thank you all for inspiring us with what you do. And now to tell you all about the cool innovations that we've been working on, let me introduce Brian Lampkin, who heads up the digital media business. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Executive Vice President Brian Lampkin.
Good morning, everybody. How are we all doing this morning? We've grown a little bit year over year. We've gotten a little bit wider. So if I could get you all to just scrunch in this middle section for me. Just kidding. Okay. More than 12,000 of you have decided to spend the next 3 days with us, and we're really thrilled with that. You represent the full spectrum of the creative community. Think about it. You represent designers, illustrators, photographers, video creators. You come from over 64 countries. You're freelancers, come from small agencies to global agency networks, major brands like T-Mobile, Sony, Adidas, and Viacom. Not only, as Shantanu said, not only is this the largest Max event ever, and the first time that we're in Las Vegas, but we're also announcing the largest lineup of new creative applications since we launched Creative Cloud 5 years ago, and literally dozens of new innovations in your favorite apps. So we're going to spend a lot of time on that today, but before we go into that, I'd like to talk about a few things. First, what inspires us the most about your work as creatives, and how we continue to listen to you and deliver a platform of creativity that will help you inspire others in very powerful ways. Technology and innovation continue to rock the world. We stood here before you last year. We've grown even more connected, both digitally and globally. Traditional media continues to undergo massive change, and every day it seems that there's a brand new device or a new social platform that's being introduced and moving its way into the mainstream. And consumers' appetite for content is at an all-time high. So our need to address what Shantanu referred to as content velocity remains paramount. In fact, one could argue that the term velocity is an understatement, given what we're all going through. We're all more connected than ever. This means that even within our creative community made up of millions of you, there's an unprecedented desire to come together and to collaborate. With technologies like artificial intelligence and technology platforms, they continue to grow smarter every year, which will help you accelerate your creativity by leveraging the collective IQ of this community. On top of all this, I think that we can all agree that the political landscape has become a little more unpredictable. It's often in moments like this, when our challenges are quite apparent, that the opportunities may seem less clear. And yet it is precisely at these moments when creativity and creatives like yourselves have the opportunity to shine, have the opportunity to thrive. And I hear this time and time again when I talk to you in the real world, not that this stage is not the real world, but hear it nowhere stronger than when I talk to you out there, and particularly when I engage with our creative residents. Many of you may recall we launched a program called the Adobe Creative Residents 2 years ago, and this is a program that enables creative professionals like yourselves early in their career to learn and grow by focusing an entire year on their own passion project. I love meeting with the residents because they inspire me by their passion, their sense of purpose, and their deep commitment to their craft. For example, one of our residents, Jessica Bellamy, a graphic designer. For Jessica, being creative means being brave. Creatives are resourceful. They're inventive people who see possibilities even in their own failures. And I think Jessica has it exactly right. As creatives, your ability to navigate the complexity in order to pull forward a powerful truth, to connect with new perspectives, and to unify with a variety of cultures and voices has never been more important, and it's never been more necessary than now. At Adobe, we are very proud of the role that we play playing a key role at the heart of this creative community. We have a deep understanding of what you're going through because we're going through the exact same thing, and we have been for the past couple of decades. When you made the transition from print to web, from darkroom to digital photography, we were going through the same thing. We were there with you then, and now we're with you during the transition from two-dimensional design to motion, augmented reality, virtual reality, and beyond. You see, our role is to synthesize all of this into a powerful, intelligent platform for creative expression. We exist to enable the collaboration, the connection, and the mentorship that empowers the most impactful art and impactful design. And also to develop the intelligent tools that will make that work possible. When we come together as a community, each of our individual contributions gains power, gains momentum. We see your desire to learn, to share, and to inspire each other in so many manifest ways. One example of this is the collaboration that we announced today, this morning, with Coca-Cola. In this collaboration, artists from around the world, such as illustrator Gemma O'Brien from Australia, animator Kohei Nakama from Japan, are creating art inspired by Coca-Cola and the upcoming Tokyo Olympics in 2020, all this in support of the Special Olympics. And to us at Adobe, it's inspiring to see how your creativity can benefit such a meaningful cause. We also believe that creativity is most powerful when deeply connected to the world around you. For example, Tim Hikes, a UX designer, co-founded the Design and Diversity Conference to explore ways, we like it too, to explore ways to make the design industry even more diverse than it is. And this is a conference that draws over 200 participants from fields as varied as advertising, manufacturing, architecture, and it's an initiative that we are deeply involved in and deeply proud of participating in Adobe. Finally, we believe in the power of mentorship. We understand the importance of nurturing and guiding the next generation of creatives, and that's why we continue to partner with stellar organizations like the Sundance Institute, the International Council of Design, AIGA, and Creative Mornings. These are organizations that continue to do incredible things day in and day out to empower young artists and to help them find their creative voice. Take Denzel Boyd, one of the Adobe Design Achievement Award winners, who partnered with Tyler Rabinowitz, one of our own Sundance Ignite Fellows, a lot of support there, and together they produced a powerful film entitled Forgotten News, Forgotten Names. From the perspective of today's youth, the film uses the spoken word and dance to address racial tension. And I encourage each of you, the best of the best in the creative community, to reach out and find a way to mentor and to serve as mentors within your broader community. There's nothing more important that you can do to give back. This community that we've created together is an undeniable force, and it really inspires us daily at Adobe. And if you think about it, it's what's fueled all of our hard work over the past couple of decades, but in particular over the past year. And in this work, we've remained true to many of the principles that I talked to you guys about last year in San Diego, to build tools that are more integrated, more streamlined, more intelligent, more cloud-centric, more multi-surface, and that enable even richer collaboration and sharing at the core. As I said earlier, everything we are releasing is informed by what we've learned from you. Your collective aspirations drive our next wave of innovation and push us even further. Our Creative Cloud release is the manifestation of this work, empowering creativity for all with brand new applications and very significant enhancements to your favorite apps. Now, I'm not going to have the time to share everything with you today unless you've signed up for the special 6-hour version of my keynote. But for the rest of you, we're going to cover the highlights, and I think you're going to be really excited about what you see. There are 3 themes I'd like to anchor on today in the announcements. First, we are introducing a set of brand new Creative Cloud apps. We've been working really hard on this. And these tools embody a modern approach to how we develop application systems. They're designed from the ground up so that you can work anywhere, any way you want, and truly unleash creativity. Combined with powerful experience improvements to some of your favorite apps, such as Photoshop and Illustrator, we are building a completely fluid system that will evolve and grow as you do. Next, by integrating learning and live streaming and Adobe Stock and Typekit functionality at the core, we're invested in the assets and the education and the support that you need to be successful. These updates are intended to make creativity accessible for all, no matter where you live, how you work, or what your experience level. Finally, as Shantanu noted, we continue to build on an ever-expanding foundation of artificial intelligence capabilities, Adobe Sensei, leveraging our next-generation algorithm and machine learning platform. We know that the pace at which you create needs to accelerate. We know that you want to be in control of your creativity, but we're going to deliver Sensei-powered features that will speed up the process and help you really dedicate your energy to your inspiration and help you bring that vision to life faster. So you'll see many of the Sensei innovations that we've developed throughout the demonstrations today, and then later on you'll hear in our closing session from Abe Parasnis, our CTO, about where we're taking our Sensei vision in the future. So let's get started. As you'll see in the first session, we've really invested in enhancing the apps that you all know and love, with an emphasis on improving the user experience. So I'm going to invite Eric Snowden, our Senior Director of Design, and Ash Huang, Senior Experience Manager, to come on up and take you through a fast forward of everything that we've done, the biggest updates that we've brought to the key Creative Cloud apps. Eric and Ash, take it away. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Brian. So Ash and I are excited to share with you a ton of updates to all the apps you know and love. Now, all the teams at Adobe have been really focused on performance improvements and experience improvements in all of your favorite apps, based directly on feedback from all of you. So I'm going to get started today in Adobe Illustrator. It's one of my favorite apps. And if you've used, yeah, there's a couple people out there. If you've used Illustrator in the past, you may have a layout, especially on a small screen, that looks something like this. Illustrator is incredibly powerful, but can feel complex. I've got panels all over the place. There's a color panel in the lower right-hand corner. I don't know how that even got there. And so it can feel a little bit intimidating. In this version of Illustrator, we have a new Essentials workspace and a new Unified Properties panel, which makes working in Illustrator much, much faster. So if I select a piece of text, for example, you'll notice the Properties panel changes to show me just options for text. So I'm not chasing panels all over the UI. At any point, I can dig in and get to my advanced options with one click. So it's really much faster to work in Illustrator. If I select an image, I'll get relevant things for images on the right-hand side. Again, it's just everything is contextually aware and makes working much, much faster. Now, speaking of working faster, Illustrator actually starts up 30% faster than before. And it's also gone from supporting 100 artboards to 1,000 artboards. So huge, huge performance increases in this version of Illustrator. So I'm going to leave Illustrator for 1 minute. I'll be back. And I'm going to head over to my phone to talk about Adobe Capture. So Adobe Capture is a mobile application that takes anything your phone's camera can see and turns it into a usable design object. So if I go ahead and launch Capture, I've got vector shapes, I've got color themes that I've captured from the real world, I've got materials that I can wrap around 3D objects to make them look realistic, I've got infinitely repeatable patterns, and I've got brushes that I can use in my favorite mobile and desktop drawing applications. But the feature I'm the most excited about is actually type capture. So I have this postcard, and I don't know what this font is on the back of it, but I want to use this in one of my designs. Type capture can help out with that. So if I launch my camera, and I point it at this card and take a photo, and then I'm going to adjust the crop a little bit. With one click, this gets sent up to Creative Cloud. And what's happening is Capture is using Adobe Sensei technology to analyze the font and give me similar fonts. And so I'm not just capturing the font, I'm actually capturing a full character style, which I can go in and edit. So maybe I want to make the font a little larger than it was. I want to increase the leading just slightly, make it all caps, save. And when I save this, I'm saving it into a Creative Cloud library that Ash and I are both sharing. So at any point, either one of us can use this in any of our Adobe applications. So pretty cool. I'm going to head back over to Illustrator. And it looks like we're having a little bit of Wi-Fi trouble here. So what's going to happen is this is actually going to sync the character style from Capture over to Illustrator. There it is in the first place there. I can zoom into one of these artboards. I'm going to select this font, on it, and apply. So that's pretty cool. I wouldn't stop there when it came to font enhancement. So another one of my favorite features is actually color font. So if I go into my character styles menu here, I'm going to filter down to just my favorite fonts, another nice little shortcut, and select Gilbert Color Bold. And if I go and start typing colored fonts, you'll notice that every single character has a different color. You've got overlapping colors, you've got blend modes. That's because every glyph in this font is a color SVG. So it adds a ton of expressivity to fonts. I can actually go and obviously edit this at any time, and then I can go and create outlines and revert this back to vectors to do more editing. So a lot of expressiveness in fonts in this version of Illustrator. The last font feature I want to show is variable fonts. And so, so if I select a variable font here, and I go into my advanced options, you'll notice I have a ton of sliders. And so what's happened is the font maker has packaged up a ton of different families inside of one font. And I can actually scrub between different values. So if I change the weight here, and I can make it much thicker, and I've got exactly the control I want, and so this starts breaking onto 2 lines, which is not what I want. I can then change the width to make it fit. And I've got a ton of options here that are exposed by the font maker. I've even got, I can change the serif height. So I can get into some really fine tuning of the font here inside of Illustrator, which is really awesome. OK, keep going. So the last feature I want to show, the last feature I want to show here is Puppet Warp. So I've got this illustration here, and I want to move the arm of this character by itself. And so, in the past, if I selected things and tried to move them, I'd get some kind of strange behavior going on. I've got a lot of overlapping complex vectors. Puppet Warp makes this really simple. If I select this illustration, and I select my Puppet Warp tool, I can add a pin to the shoulder, one to the elbow, and one to the hand. And that means certain parts of the illustration will move, and certain parts won't. So I can move the hand independently. I can move the hand and the elbow independently. It makes working in Illustrator so much simpler with complex illustrations. All right, so I just went through a lot of things. I'm going to pass it off to Ash. She's got a ton more features to show you guys.
Thanks, Eric. You all ready for some more features? All right. We are going to start off here in Adobe Stock. Now, Stock is a collection of over 100 million images, videos, illustrations, templates, and more. And all of these assets work seamlessly with all of my creative tools. So let's see what's new in search. All right, so I'm going to kick off an image search here. I actually have an image that I want to use already. I have a cute little lemur, but I don't love that he has his back to us. He's a bit of a rude boy. So let's find a lemur with a different posture. And with Stock, I can actually use that image to search, which is great. So what's happening now is Stock is using Adobe Sensei technology to analyze that image, figure out it's a lemur, and return back a bunch of lemurs, as expected. But of course, we want to find just the right lemur. So let's filter this down. So you can filter exactly how you would expect. You can go by category, by orientation of image, but I'm really excited about these two new features that the team has added. The first is the depth of field and the vivid color, and both of these also use Adobe Sensei. So you'll see here now, if I turn up the depth of field, we're going to get a lot of lemurs that are sharp in the foreground and blurry backgrounds, which is awesome. So if we like the look of this guy, we can take a little bit of a closer look. Of course, because this is an Adobe tool, all of these are super easy and integrated with our tools to use so. You can license this one click or save a watermark preview, and it'll just show up in our library, just in case Eric needs a lemur for some purpose. All right, we are going to move on now from stock to Adobe Photoshop Sketch on the iPad. Now, this is one of my favorite apps. It's the best way to do natural media style paintings and drawings when you're on the go. As you can see here from our community examples, you can get a ton of different styles and different looks and feels, all from this one app. Let's finish out a piece that I've been working on here. And the first new feature in Sketch is that you can now use all of your Photoshop brushes here in Sketch. So you'll see here, I'm really jazzed about Kyle Webster's drawing brush. It's really great. I have hundreds of brushes, and I can take them all with me. So let's quickly finish out this painting here. We're going to add a little highlight on this shirt just to make it look a little more dimensional and warm. But because this is a live drawing demo, I'm going to take us to our second feature, which makes this truly a showboating experience, and that is time-lapse, one of my favorite features. So with one tap, I can create a time-lapse from this drawing. What's really awesome about this is that I don't have to download any software, I don't have to set up any cameras, I don't even have to know that I wanted to create a time-lapse to begin with. With just one click, I can make this video. Sketch has been recording all of my brush strokes, so I don't have to do anything. And I can decide after I like the image, to create a video that I can easily share to social media or anywhere else that takes a movie file. All right, got to keep moving. We are going to jump into Photoshop. Now, there are a ton of new Photoshop features. I can only show you a couple of my favorites. The first one we're going to talk about is layer styles in libraries. Awesome new feature. So this text is looking a little plain. We're going to jazz it up a little bit with some 80s-tastic fun. Now, I can easily go ahead and add this to my library, super easily. But what's awesome about having this here is that I can have this reusable repository of layer styles. So I can easily apply these across files, and I can even share these styles with Eric in case he needs to brand an 80s synth band in the near future. All right, layer styles in libraries, super useful. We're going to move right along. Let's talk drawing and painting in Photoshop. So I want to point out first that I am on this beautiful Microsoft Surface Studio, and I've really enjoyed using the pen with it, but now the team has added dial support. So you'll see here now, I have all the options you expect. I can scroll, I can zoom, I can undo, and I even have these great brush options. And we're going to kick this off by zooming in a little so I can show you the next feature. OK. So the next feature is a new pen tool. It's called the pen curvature tool. It's really, really handy. So when you're normally drawing shapes with the pen tool, this looks like business as usual, right? So you drop a couple of points in. What's really great about the pen curvature tool is you'll see as I drop this third point in, that curve auto-extrapolates. That's great because I don't have to fight with handles. I don't have to make sure that the shape is perfectly symmetrical. I can just easily drop in points. And you'll see I have a shape, easy peasy here. And of course, because this is drawn by a pen tool, all of these points remain entirely editable. So in a matter of seconds, I can make an easy, symmetrical shape with very, very, very little effort. OK, let's talk about brushes in Photoshop. So I've been painting for about a decade, and I have collected many, many brushes over the years. And it's always really hard for me to find exactly the brush that I'm looking for. It's actually great that we have this much space. I think this is the first time that I've seen all of my brushes all at once. I'm sure many of you have this problem. Well, finding that brush that you're looking for is now a problem of the past. So the Photoshop team has completely rethought brush organization. So you'll see here now, we have this brand new panel with organized folders, and I can customize, rename these folders whatever I like. And as you see here, all of my brushes have previews, and everything is awesome. So I can find that brush that I have been using. So let's just double check that this is exactly the right size before I show you our very last feature, which is brush smoothing, one of my absolute favorites. OK, so we have an undersketch here. And so without brush smoothing, my hand is a little shaky because I have 12,000 hovering art directors here today. So you'll notice as I'm drawing, the line's coming out pretty wobbly. And you'll notice as I'm drawing, I get these little tails at the beginning and end. And this is a problem I run into all of the time when I am trying to outline or when I'm just trying to draw a smooth line. So let's try that again with new brush smoothing. So this is great. I can turn brush smoothing up as little or as much as I want. I'm feeling 63 today. Whoops. And then you'll see here we have these great options. So first we can adjust for zoom. That means Photoshop will know what zoom level I have and automatically adjust the smoothing based on my zoom level. The second one I wanted to make sure is turned on is stroke catch-up. Let me show you what that does. So now as I'm drawing, you'll notice my stroke looks like it's almost being pulled along by a little string. So I can go as fast or as slow as I want, and that line is coming out super smooth, even though my hand is still really shaking because you are all still here. So easy peasy, finishing out the back of this card, don't have to redraw anything, and it's coming out super smooth. You would never know that this was a live demo. So again, all of these features that Eric and I just showed, I want to remind you that it's just a subset of all the great features that the team has put out this year to really improve that experience in all of our apps. Thank you so much.
Wasn't that awesome? Thank you, Eric and Ash. I know that was a lot to digest, but there's really one key theme that I want you to walk away with today. No papyrus. Okay. We couldn't help having a little fun with that. So, in all seriousness, I hope you saw very clearly how we're looking around the corners and driving new innovations even to your existing applications and bringing you the expertise that will help you accelerate your creativity. Before we move on to our design session, there's one more announcement I'd like to make. I'm glad Ash put away all those brushes. Ash is a recovering brush hoarder. In fact, it took us a while to convince her to join us on stage for the demo. She kept brushing us off. OK. I'm here all week. Anyway, as a recovering brush hoarder, she just mentioned award-winning brush illustrator Kyle Webster, the creator of all the Photoshop brushes that she's demonstrated today on stage, has decided to join us at Adobe. So Kyle signed up to join Adobe full-time, and you'll now have access to all 1,500 of Kyle's handiwork as part of your Creative Cloud membership. So let's give them a round of applause. And now on to another core area of focus. Design has never been more central than it is today. Great design can illuminate a truth, it can change public opinion, and it can persuade customers to take an action. At Adobe, our job is to deliver the apps and services that enable great design, letting you focus less on the tool itself and more on doing what you do so well, which is being creative. The tools that you're about to see represent the next generation of Adobe. These applications are built to make it easier for you to work in today's dynamic design environment, and are built to evolve as quickly as you do. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Jamie Myrold. Jamie's our Vice President of Experience Design at Adobe, and Jamie's going to take you through the latest design innovations. Jamie?
Thanks, Brian. Had a little bit of a debacle getting out of here. Oh my God, Max, right? And we're in Vegas. How's everybody doing? Yeah? This is awesome. All right, so Ash and Eric just shared with you what we've been working on over the past year to enhance and improve our core Creative Cloud applications. And now I get to share with you what we have been working on over the past year to create brand new tools for design. So I head up the Global Experience Design team here at Adobe, which means my team designs all of the tools most of you use every day. And as we design these tools, we are taking into consideration the expanding needs of modern design. Because as we all know, design in its broadest terms has become increasingly more complex. We have more data. There are more immersive technologies, things like machine learning, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, voice inputs, and on and on and on. All of this is already changing the way we as designers are approaching our work. And the demand for content is exploding, and it has been exploding for quite some time. And the need to communicate our brands beautifully and consistently across multiple screens, devices, and platforms is the new norm. In addition, we now have user expectations have fundamentally changed, and we now have a generation that has grown up on mobile devices, immersive experiences, immersive games, social networks. And we're seeing toddlers learn to touch and navigate on a screen before even learning how to walk. And amid all of this, we are required to create at a much faster pace than ever before. And we are balancing visioning while doing the more tactical aspects of design. And this is difficult to switch the brain in that way. And all the while, we are collaborating across multidisciplinary teams, which requires a lot of communicating, coordinating, and also having the ability to blend both technology and business requirements and needs into the best product experience or brand expression ever. So believe me, because I live and breathe this every day, I understand that this is a lot and that there are intense demands on designers today. So what is Adobe doing to help all of you with this? So as I said earlier, we are creating new tools, which means we are rethinking everything and building these new tools to meet the needs of modern design. At the same time, we are considering the expanding nature of your roles, and we are building these tools with ease of use top of mind, which will enable you to get up to speed and also gain new skills quickly. All right, so those are all my words, and now I want to get into where we're going to be sharing some really cool stuff with you. So let's get started with that. So just to kick it off, 2 years ago at Max, we shared our vision for reimagining tooling for experience design. And since then, we have been developing the beta of Adobe XD out in the open with the creative community. So for those of you that don't know what XD is, an all-in-one solution to design, prototype, and share beautifully crafted apps, websites, and screen experiences of all kinds. And XD is built around the following core concepts. So it puts experience first and available to all of you to use right now. So this is awesome. Yes! All right, so now we have a video of XD in action. So let's take a look.
At an agency, you're always working against time and fidelity. The needs of our clients are constantly changing. There are so many different channels. Now you're creating a whole package of assets.
Typically, in order to create something, you have to jump from one software program to 6 others in order to finally get the design out there.
So the amount of work that is required to create an entire experience is pretty significant. Our previous process was really ineffectual, and the labor that it took to get there was beyond.
In order to remain competitive and efficient in the digital space, we needed to make some kind of change. XD was recommended by one of the designers who came in, and I quickly became completely enamored with it.
Everything is just contained in one single platform. Production, refining, publishing, commenting.
One of the beauties of XD is this ability to really see this massive canvas of everything for a particular design.
You can zoom in super quickly and see it, and it's always super crisp, and you never have to wait for anything to load, and then being able to quickly create the grids and auto-populate it and adjust the gutters and the just the gutter, the grids, it's amazing. The grids changed the way we're able to work.
The first thing that I was kind of wowed over is just the sheer speed of XD. Prototyping is so fast.
We had our first prototype within just a couple of hours of giving the brief to the team. Working in XD allowed us to create 64 artboards across 17 iterations of the prototype, accelerate the design process, and explore those ideas at a really quick rate.
We've always felt this real need to punch above our weight and punch above our weight. Having a level of efficiency with the tools and the software is everything to a small business like ours.
In a lot of ways, that speed allows us to continue being competitive when these websites are growing to 500, 600 pages. XD has just been amazing for that.
It just gives you more time to focus on what you actually want to do, which is create the design.
Awesome. Yep, you can keep clapping. So as you can see, XD is beautiful, it's modern, it's fluid, it's fast, it's responsive. It's just an amazing experience. And so now I want to invite Khoi Vinh, principal designer, up here to the stage with his mad design skills to share with you Adobe XD in a bit more detail.
There's a lot of you. Whoa, okay. Thank you, Jamie. Adobe XD, this is our new all-in-one solution that lets designers like me and you design, prototype, and share beautifully crafted apps, websites, and screen experiences of all kinds. Now, this is a whole new way of working that lets me build really effective design systems. And if you're new to user experience design, it's also perfect. So let's take a look. This is Adobe XD. It's running here on my Mac. It also runs beautifully on Windows. And on both platforms, you'll see the experience itself. It's minimal and it's elegant. And even with all these artboards here, it's lightning fast. Oops. Lightning fast, they said. I don't know why my trackpad is not working. Sorry. Is there another trackpad that I can get here? Sorry, I'm going to have to switch to a backup machine. Folks, this is exactly the way I planned it, so don't worry at all. Okay. All right, so where was I? Thank you. Thanks. Lightning fast. There we go, right? Okay. So this all comes from XD being a brand new product. Building this gave us the opportunity to rethink everything. And to show you exactly how, I'd like to do a little bit of design work with you on stage here right now. So this is a new project I've been working on. It's called Flexi. It's an exercise app. And for Flexi, I need to finish designing this one screen over here, which is going to be a gallery of workout locations. Now to finish this design, I'm going to use XD's repeat grid feature, which lets me instantly replicate this card, the thumbnail, the text, all the way down the screen, just like that. Isn't that great? Okay. Saved me a ton of clicks, but I do have a problem. It's just the same image over and over again, which is not very realistic, right? So there's a number of ways I can fix that, but today I'm going to use a new feature we're shipping in XD with this release, and that's support for Creative Cloud libraries built right here into the app right now. So this is perfect because folks on my team are using Creative Cloud, of course. These images are right out of Photoshop. So I'm just going to drag them over to this layout. Sorry, I've got this trackpad in an entirely different place. Right over here. And just like that, everything's going to get updated. I zoomed ahead to something much closer to what I had in mind. Okay. And it's not like these are copies of what you see in that libraries panel. Everything's synced through Creative Cloud. So if I want to make any changes to the images, like this one, for instance, needs a bit of help, I can make them right in Photoshop, and everything's going to update instantly. So let's tab over here to Photoshop. I'm going to open up this image right out of the libraries panel, and then I'm going to crop it. And I'm doing this crisscross applesauce, so please bear with me. And make the figure a little bit more central. And then while I'm here, I'm going to make some changes to the levels to help the image pop a little bit. OK, now when I hit save, what's going to happen is everything's going to sync through Creative Cloud. Back here, you can see XD is grabbing the latest version of the image, and it's going to drop it into place there, just like that, before I can even finish explaining it, right? So thank you. So this kind of tight integration, only Adobe can do this, right? And it makes workflow so much simpler. OK, so now with these images in place, I'm starting to notice that these headlines don't look so great against the photos. So let's tweak the layout a little bit. Get rid of this panel. And then I'm going to shift this down a little bit here. And then I'm going to make room for this text. Let's make it blue so everybody can see it. So you notice I'm only making these changes once. I don't have to do it 4 or 5 different times because XD's repeat grid keeps everything in sync for me, saving me a ton of time. While we're here, let's make this type a little bit smaller too. It's looking a little bit big, or maybe smaller still. So you'll notice that these tweaks I'm making to the type, I'm using what we call the property inspector on the right side here. This is just like the properties panel that Eric mentioned in Illustrator earlier. It's also context aware. So what I'm seeing right now is just text controls because that's what I've got selected on the artboard. Now if I were to click on a shape object like this, I'd only see shape controls. The whole interface is smart like this. It's only showing me what I need to see when I need to see it. And I'm going to actually use another panel that's very similar. The layers panel on the left side here, in order to get this tab bar up above there. So just moved it to the top of the Z index, but you notice I've only got a handful of layers that I need to deal with right now. Even though there's tons of layers in this document, XD really gets out of your way and lets you design. OK, so now the layout is looking pretty good. I'm going to start turning my attention to some of the colors. I've got these oranges here that I want to replace with this screen, and I'm going to use another new feature we're shipping today. This is called the Assets panel. Now, the Assets panel is a centralized place where I can keep all the elements I want to use over and over, symbols, character styles, and color swatches. So let's make a color swatch out of this green. And then I'm going to apply that to these orange regions right here, just like that. Now, the beautiful thing about this Assets panel is that behind the scenes, it does a ton of work for me. So this is a brand new color swatch, but XD has gone out, it's matched all the other instances of that exact same green, and it's united them behind this brand new color swatch. So if I want to change the color, I can do that globally. So watch as I scrub up and down this color picker. Everything throughout the whole document is changing all together, all at once, right? Even those symbols I created earlier in green, those are updating too. So I'm going to set this as red here. Now, I also want to show you how awesome the Assets panel is at handling type. So this is a sans serif typeface called Active Grotesque that I'm using here. I want to change it up to something a little bit more fun, at least in the headers here. So I'm going to create a character style just like this. And this is going to work just like the color swatch, meaning I'm going to change every instance of Active Grotesque bold, 34 points, to a slab serif typeface I like called Lexia. Now that's going to change there on that screen, of course, but when you know it, it also changes throughout the whole document. Everywhere XD found Active Grotesque bold 34 points, it's now Lexia black 34 points, right? This is so powerful. Yes, thank you. This gives me a kind of flexibility that is so terrific because as a designer, I can now think of all of this work that I'm doing, all of these screens, as a design system, as a comprehensive solution. And that is the secret to user experience design. You now know the secret to user experience design. OK. So now the layout is in good shape. But you know, as a designer, my job doesn't end here, right? I have to think about the interaction as well. I have to think about building a prototype. Now in XD, that's as simple as tabbing over to prototype mode, just like this. And now I get the same artboards, I get the same views, but everything's focused on interaction. I didn't have to export anything. I didn't have to sync anything to a different environment. Everything's right here. Now, creating an interactive prototype can be really time-consuming in other apps, but I'll show you how quickly I can add this new screen we designed to this flow. It's just a matter of dragging and dropping from any screen to any other, right, or button to any other. And each time I do that, I get this little pop-up window that gives me options for the transition, the animation, the timing, all of that. And just like that, it's all wired up. So let's see how it works. There's a few different options to do that. First, XD has this desktop preview built right into the app. This is like having a virtual phone or a tablet at your fingertips. It's a great way to make sure everything's coming together. But you really can't beat seeing it on a real device. And that's why we have terrific companion apps. XD for Android and XD for iOS, which I have right here on my phone. Let's go over here and have a look at it. OK, so this is the prototype we just built. When you see it on the device, it really starts to feel real. You see the flow, the interaction, everything is here, including the screen that we just built. Really terrific. Now, thank you. It's really starting to feel like a real, actual app now. And actually, one of the things that happens when you get it on the device is that you start to notice things that you missed earlier. So this screen, for instance, has that new red, but it's kind of hard on the eyes. So let's switch back over here to the desktop, where I'm going to change that really quickly to something a little bit easier to read. I'm going to change this to white. Now, when I make this change, it's going to change here on the desktop, of course. Also updates right there on the phone. No syncing. No exporting, none of that friction. This is the power of an all-in-one system. This is the power of having prototyping right here next to design where it belongs. OK, so the prototype is in good shape, but I work on a team. I work with other designers. There are developers, product managers, all kinds of folks who need to see what I see. So I need to share this prototype with them. In XD, that's super simple. All I have to do is click on this icon here and then create a link. XD is going to grab all these screens, the wiring, the timing, the transitions, everything. It's going to share them online, and it returns this unique link for me. Now, when my teammates open up this link, they're going to see what I see, the same flow, the same screens. Everything's going to work just the way it worked on the device, including the animations, right? And there's our screen. This is a great way for us all to be part of the same design process. We're building the same design system together, after all. And actually, the web interface is great for capturing feedback. I'm going to leave a comment right here. Check out this new color. Now, comments can apply to the whole artboard. In this case, I'm going to pin it to a specific spot so that everybody knows what I mean. It gets published there. My whole team will get notifications. Simple, efficient collaboration. And that's Adobe XD. Design, prototype, and share in an all-in-one system. We are so excited to get this released into your hands. Go get it, and go build something awesome today. Thank you.
Thanks, Coy. So, as you can all see, XD is an amazing experience. And I just wanted to share with all of you that throughout the beta, my team has been using XD to actually design XD, which has been an amazing experience. And as I've said, we've been designing in partnership with the creative community. And I have to say that this partnership has truly pushed XD to become an entirely new way for designers to approach their work. As you saw in both the video and in Coy's mad design skills showing us XD here on stage, the tools just get out of our way so that we can focus on designing. And sharing and prototyping and sharing for feedback is quick and seamless. Having an all-in-one cross-platform solution for experience design is just a game changer. And as I said earlier, everything Coy just shared is available today, and it is available on both Mac and Windows. And if you are a Creative Cloud All Apps member, you have XD right now. It's part of your membership. So there's nothing else you need to do except for download it and get started creating with this new awesome tool. If you don't have a membership, XD is also available as a single app plan, which makes it super easy for anyone to sign up and get started using it. All right, so I just wanted to share a bit more about what we're going to be working on XD going forward. So just like the beta, we are going to continue to partner with the creative community as we expand the feature set of XD. Right now, we are focused on enhancing XD's core design and prototyping functionality. In parallel, we are working on collaboration. Broadly, we're working on collaboration, including, and where we're starting, is best-in-class collaboration and handoff for the designer and developer workflow. Okay, so great. With XD, you now have a new modern tool for experience design. So this is awesome for all of you, super cool. But that is not all that we have been working on. We've also been working on creating new modern tooling for graphic design. So graphic design is expanding beyond 2D. The expectation is to show your brand in context and on physical products, but to explore and try out new ideas in this way is hard. It's a lot of work. This requires you to create physical mock-ups or physical prototypes of your product and figure out how to wrap your brand around it, and then set up a photo shoot. Another option for you is to hire and collaborate with a 3D expert. But both of these options are expensive and time-consuming. Another option that we have is to learn 3D ourselves. But let's face it, 3D is hard. It is not approachable to most of us, which is why last year at MAX, we debuted the beta of a new tool for 2D and 3D graphic design. And we called this Project Felix. And I now have another announcement, which is that as of today, Project Felix, now Adobe Dimension, is officially out of beta and available to use right now. Woohoo! Awesome, 2 new tools. So Dimension enables designers to extend their designs to physical products and scenes without having to learn the difficult world of 3D or to set up a photo shoot. And I have to say, as we've been designing and building and developing Dimension over the past year, I've been using it, and it's super fun to use. Having the power to visualize your brands in photorealistic settings without having to set up a photo shoot is absolutely magical. So now, to share this magic with you, I would like to invite Zarana G, Group Product Manager, yeah, Zarana fans, up to the stage to share this magic with you.
Thanks, Jamie. I am thrilled to be here today, and so are many of my fellow Dimension teammates that are out there somewhere. There they are, small group. Anyways, we are ecstatic to be here today to be able to share with you guys our first version of Adobe Dimension, a new tool for graphic designers to enable you to create using both 2D and 3D assets. So let's get started. I have this comp here that I've been working on in Illustrator, and I'm really happy with this mood and this theme that I developed. It's for a local organic food company. And what I really want to do is be able to visualize this brand on actual products without needing to have any of this in real life. Typically, really difficult to do before Adobe Dimension. Here in Dimension, I have the ability to visualize my idea, my brand, on these products without actually having to have any of it in real life and having it all look realistic. So what I have here is a comp that I've already built up, and I'm in the final stage of the design of the mode, and it's a render mode. What I want to do is jump into the earlier step, the design mode, and this is where I can show you how I can build some of this up. Okay. So all of these assets that I have here are editable. So I can reposition it, I can reorient it, I can change the lighting, the perspective, the camera, many different aspects, and this is the benefit of working with 3D assets. I can even change the material. Say I wanted to change this honey jar here. Honey jars shouldn't be plastic, it's got to be glass. No problem. I can search through hundreds of materials that are directly inside the application and find the right glass material that I like. I like this one here. I've added that on there. All the presets that we have are editable. So I've added that glass material, and there's many different properties I can change, interior properties, surface properties. But for this particular one, I'm just going to make this a nice amber orange. And there you have it. All right. Now, the next thing I want to do is actually add a new product to this lineup. I'm not a 3D expert, so I really don't want to go through the steps of having to learn how to build one up from scratch. So I'm super excited to say that Adobe Stock is a big part of this story in that they're building out their library of contents, of models, materials, as well as lights, all optimized for use inside of Adobe Dimension. I can search license directly here on the site, or I can do so directly inside the application here through the integration of Creative Cloud libraries, right? So I already downloaded a model that I want to use, and it's this chip bag right here. I'll go ahead and drag that to the canvas. All right, let's drag that to the canvas. Now, the really cool thing is all the models that we add are actually editable. And so let me delete this nice little, well, let's go here. All right, so all the materials, all the models that we have are editable. So anytime I can edit it, as you saw me do with the glass material that I placed on the honey jar. However, for this particular model, as you saw in this comp here, I have a pattern that I've designed in Illustrator that I actually want to use. Not a problem. I've actually already dragged this out to CC libraries inside of Illustrator, and now inside of Dimension, I can easily add that pattern onto this object. Go ahead and open the color picker and find this and drag it over here, and there you have it. And the really cool thing is that now this pattern that I've just added is wrapping around the entire geometry of this product. So I can reposition or orient, change it at any time, and it absorbs all the lighting and the effects that I have in this particular scene. All right, the next thing I want to do is I want to add a logo. I want to add a logo, and this logo I've already created in Illustrator that you saw. And what I'm going to do is just drag this out, this logo that I've dropped to CC libraries, and drop it directly on the model, and there you have it. Not only is it just placing where I need it to be, I can reposition it, and you can see it wrapping around the geometry nicely. I can also scale, resize. Go ahead, come on, let's hear it. This is cumbersome, right? For those of you who have done this, who tried to make these things look realistic, having to like skew and transform things, I've done this a lot, trying to get that to look right and realistic is quite challenging, and this definitely saves a ton of steps. So let's get that just to the position that I need, and there you have it. All right. Lighting. Dimension makes lighting easy. Essentially, we have hundreds of presets as well, and the presets are also set up as outdoor lighting, indoor lighting, a bunch of studio setups, really easy to use. So I can scroll through here, say I have this wood studio scenario, I can drop that directly on the canvas, and you can see how it's absorbing the browns of that room as well as the different light setup that I have created. But for this particular comp, I actually just want to use a very simple two-front panel softbox studio environment. I drop that on there, and there you have it. Now, one thing that you need to do, especially with lighting and advanced shadows and reflections, et cetera, is this render preview. This render preview is awesome because it gives me the best sort of what you see is what you get experience while working with 3D without needing to go to that final render step. You can get a quick snapshot of how things are looking, the reflection, the refraction, the shadows, et cetera, and then make some decisions about your design. And actually at this point what I want to do is I want to change the look completely. What I want to do is be able to add a photographic background to this. And again, it is the ability to be able to visualize this design, this idea that I have, in context, in reality, without having to have anything in reality yet. Now, the really cool thing that we do when we bring in a photograph as a background is we're leveraging Adobe Sensei's machine learning algorithms and automatically detecting the environment light, the sunlight if it's there, as well as the camera perspective. All I need to click is OK here. And not only are we going to automatically find that camera perspective, place those objects on the ground, but we're also using the the environment light that is of this photograph and wrapping it around the scene. But there's more here. There's more power here. Essentially, we like to expose the automatic ability to set these controls for you But you can always come back in here and dig in deeper. The control and the power is there if you need it, but not if you don't. So I can go ahead and rotate this light around if I want the light to be coming from the front to give it a little more perspective and depth. And again, right now this looks good. What I want to do is open up that render preview and take a look at how things are looking. I can even expand this full screen. This will just do a couple passes, and right away I can see things don't look right. I need to actually turn off this reflection, right? This is not a reflective thing, so let's go ahead and just drop that down. And again, wait for that render pass. It just does a couple passes, and it allows me to get that visualization of what this is going to look like before needing to go into that render step. All right, so now this is great. I love it. Explored with a different idea. What I want to do is actually go back to my first idea. And again, it's the ability to change major components of my composition and have things look realistic immediately. And again, the power to change and adjust any of these aspects is here. I can always come back around here and rotate the light around if it's a little too bright. The power is there if I need it, but I have a great way of just getting started very quickly. OK, and now I'm ready to kick off that render. So let's go into the render mode, and I'll start that render. And what rendering is doing is automatically calculating for all the shadows, the reflection, the refraction, all that fancy stuff. It's really awesome. The really great thing that we're doing inside of Dimension is that we're automatically generating a Photoshop file here with a bunch of layers to help you jumpstart your work inside of Photoshop. At any point I feel like this render is complete, I can create a snapshot and call it quits. This render here takes about a minute or so, a little bit less than a minute, but so in the interest of time, I've created a render here already inside of Photoshop. Now here in Photoshop, I can treat this just like a photograph, but it's better, because as I mentioned, it comes with a bunch of layers with masks that are separated out all the different components so I can get to work quickly. This is really cool. Say I want to actually cool the greens down a little bit in the tin can. I can easily select this mask component. I'll go ahead and select that, and then I'll add a simple hue-sat adjustment layer. Let's go ahead and bring up the blues a little bit, drop down the greens, and there you have it. I'm done. So here I have a few comps, and you can see how easily it is to create these pre-visualizations of these very different designs. And this helps me communicate all my ideas that I have to my customer or client. And this is the power of using Dimension together with some of your favorite tools. Thank you.
Thanks, Arana. So what do you all think? Magical? And fun. I think Zarana was having a blast out here sharing that with you. So I'm super happy that Dimension is available today to all of you on both Mac and Windows. It makes 3D approachable, enabling you to visualize your ideas on physical products quickly and easily without having to set up a photo shoot. And being able to ideate in this way is just magical. And just like with XD, Creative Cloud All Apps members, you have Dimension. It is part of your membership, so you have it right now. And it is also available as a single app plan, just in case any of you that don't have a membership want to give it a try. All right, cool. So you now have 2 new, easy-to-use, modern tools to start creating with today. This is pretty cool. But we are not done. I now want to share with you what we have been working on over the past year as we've been working on to broaden creativity to everyone. So we just shared with you new tool for experience design, new tool for graphic design. This next experience is actually for everyone that is looking to be creative. So that is all of you in the audience today. So last year, we introduced Adobe Spark. And Spark, yeah? We already have lots of Spark fans? That's awesome. Yep. So Spark is a solution that makes it super easy for anyone to transform their ideas into stunning visual stories. And it can be used both personally and professionally to create graphics, web pages, and video stories using beautifully crafted templates and layouts that are optimized for social channels. This makes it so easy for anyone to communicate their ideas and stories stunningly across multiple screens, devices, and platforms. And we now have over 7 million people using Spark today. And hopefully, after this keynote, we will have 12,000 more. Because Spark truly opens up creativity for everyone. And over the past year, the Spark team has not been resting. Of course, they have not. They have been working really hard to make Spark even better. So to show you, I would like to invite Michael Ninnis from the Spark team up to the stage.
Thank you, Jamie. I don't know about you, I think it's time to spark up this design party, right? Let's get it going. So Adobe Spark, it's an integrated web and mobile solution that makes it easy for everyone to tell their story. Now, my daughter swims for the Santa Barbara Swim Club, so I'd like to share how I use Adobe Spark to promote her club on social media. Today, I can create 3 different Spark formats: Spark Page, Spark Video, and Spark Post. I'm going to take a really quick tour of each format to orient you to Spark. Spark Page is for creating responsive web pages that look beautiful on any device. It's a modern way to create a whole range of digital documents. This is a digital brochure I created to explain about the Spark, the swim club. You can see it does a really wonderful job of showing off beautiful photography, has nice scroll effects, beautiful typography, and so forth. Spark Video is for creating video stories, perfect for sharing on social media. I'm going to play a video here I created after a recent swim meet as an event recap, just so you can get a flavor of the type of video stories you can create. Very good. Now, I said earlier that Spark is an integrated web and mobile solution, so it works on the browser. You can create all this content directly in any browser on any desktop. But I also have companion applications for my phone. Here I am on my iPhone. I've got Spark Post, Page, and Video apps. I'm going to open up that same video that we just saw running in the browser. I'm going to make a quick edit just so we can actually see how easy it is to do these types of experiences. So I'm going to go to this slide here. It's a slide-based UX metaphor instead of a complicated timeline. I'm going to add a video onto this slide. I'm going to tap the plus sign. Little joke here. If you can click on a plus sign, you can use Adobe Spark. I'm going to load the video from my device that I captured when I was at the meet. I can use this little playhead to determine where I want the clip to start. I'm going to tap done, and it's going to automatically clip that video and add it to the slide for me. I can go ahead and press play just to kind of get a preview of that particular slide. Good. All right, that last format is Spark Post. Perfect for creating social media graphics. And since I'm on the phone, I'll just stay here and use the iPhone version. Now with Spark Post, you can start from any of the remixable templates in the template feed. You can scroll through here. We add new templates weekly, so you can help you get started. Or I can start from scratch. I'm going to tap that plus button. I'm going to create an inspirational quote post to share on Facebook. I'm going to choose my photo library and choose the image that I want to create a post of. I'll use my daughter. Thank you, Maya, for playing along. We'll choose Facebook, tap done. And I'm going to want this to be a 2-column layout. So I'm going to tap the layout button, scroll over and choose the 2-column grid, and I can resize that to be asymmetrical. Go ahead and change the crop on that. Pretty simple. All right, let's actually put our quote in here. I'm going to get rid of the shape that's behind this. And I'll use my magic align text option and double tap to paste that quote in. So pretty simple, pretty fast to create nice social media graphics here, looking good. If I want to share that to Facebook, I can do that directly from the app by tapping share and choose the Facebook option. If I need to create a version of this that needs to go to Twitter or Instagram or an Instagram story or Pinterest or whatever, if I tap the resize button, you'll see as I tap on the different sizes, Spark Post does all the heavy lifting of reformatting that design for those particular device social media platforms. Pretty cool. Okay, up until now, the free version of Adobe Spark has included the Spark branding on all the content you create. So if you look in the right corner of the video, there's the Spark watermark. If I go back over to that Spark page, the Spark logo's in the upper left-hand corner. I'm happy to announce that recently we shipped Spark with premium features. And what that allows you to do is to remove the Spark branding and replace it with your own, so you can create custom branded stories across all the Spark formats. Let's take a look at how that works. I haven't even shown it yet, and you're already applauding. That's awesome. I'm going to click the Add Brand button to get this started. And Spark just asks you for what your brand ingredients are. So the first thing is, what's your logo? We'll click that. I'm going to load the Swim Club logo into the system. And on the right-hand side, you start to see previews of the templates and themes that Spark is going to generate for you based on your brand ingredients. Second step is just to add your brand color. I'm going to go ahead and choose the color that it automatically extracted from the logo. And you're starting to see those templates and themes come to life on the right. Last step is to pick a font. I'll go ahead and choose Museo Slab, a nice big bold typeface. And now you're starting to see this come to life again. Normally, I would click the next button, and Spark would generate, for real, the themes and templates against your brand ingredients. That process takes about a minute, so I'm going to switch to an account where I've already completed the brand setup, and we're now looking at the brand manager. What it's done is it's created a set of post templates for you to create projects from. I can, of course, edit these templates or create new ones. It's also generated one-click themes that I can use inside my page and video projects. Now, I don't know about you, to other designers out there, but I think I may have just found a solution for all my friends and family that ask me for design favors. Just saying. All right, so in my ingredients bar, the sidebar here, you can see I can add additional elements to the system. I've already uploaded an alternate version of the logo, a white version of the logo. I can add secondary colors. I can add secondary fonts as well. Now, the real magic of the custom branding functionality is when you see it in context within the editors. So let's jump back over to that Spark page, that digital brochure I created earlier. And this is just using one of the themes in the free version of Spark, the crisp theme. If I scroll up to the top, though, you'll see those themes that the brand manager created for me. And with one click, it reformats that page to use my fonts, my colors, and adds my logos and identity as well. Now, the real magic, awesome. The real magic is also seeing it works across the mobile applications as well. So let's go back to Spark Video. There's that same video we were working on earlier. And again, we'll tap on the Themes button, and there's the branded themes right there in my app waiting for me. Just tap Light, and it does the same thing for the Spark Video as well. If I go all the way to the end, you can see it even adds the logo for the club to the end of it as well. Last but not least, let's go back to Spark Post. And if I look at the templates feed and tap on brand, there's a new category here. All those branded templates that we saw on the web browser have been synced to this device already, and I can create new projects from those templates as well. Or I can actually add my brand to any other project that I've created previously or from the template feed. I'm going to double click on this project, duplicate that. I'll go to my design button, just like you saw in page and video. And with one tap, I'll tap Brandify, and it automatically applies that brand to that design, even knows intelligently where to place that logo so it doesn't cover up the text in the right-hand corner. And there you have it. There's your lightning quick tour of Adobe Spark with premium features, allowing you to create custom branded stories. Hashtag Adobe Spark.
Thanks, Michael. So now I expect you all to brandify this afternoon. So as you can see, Spark makes it so easy for anyone to quickly communicate their ideas and branded stories beautifully. And now all Creative Cloud plans include Spark Premium, so you all can start creating with it today. So yeah, it's awesome. So as you can see, Adobe is committed to bringing you new modern tools for design and creative expression, so that you can design faster, expand your skills, and be more creative. And if I haven't said it enough on stage today, everything that we just shared with you is available to you for use right now. So this is truly awesome, and we are so excited to see what you all create with these tools. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. I love what Jamie said about rethinking everything. In many ways, that's what this year's release is all about. Brand new XD 1.0. Very proud to put that in the market and get that in your hands. Adobe Dimension, Spark, We're really unleashing a new wave of experience design and for everyone. Photographs also play a key role in storytelling, and we have a lot to share with you in digital photography today. Lightroom has been an absolute force since we introduced it over a decade ago. It's truly transformed digital photography. So we're excited to show you how we're evolving Lightroom today for a world beyond the desktop. We are unleashing a new photography system that is streamlined, integrated, cloud-based, and that is accessible no matter where you are or what surface you're working on to truly unleash your creativity. Maria Yap, our head of product management for digital imaging, will share our vision for the future of photography. It's my pleasure to welcome Maria to the stage.
My love affair with photography began as a teenager. It inspired me to get a job so I could buy my first camera and interchangeable lenses. As you can see, these are some of my first photos. Over the years, I discovered that photography captures the world as you see it, as you experience it, even as you imagine it. Let's think about it. From its very inception over 2 centuries ago, photography has been rooted in innovation and technology. And these advancements have always been the impetus behind the progression of photography. Removing technical barriers makes it easier for more people to enjoy and unleash an even higher level of creativity. Looking at the history of photography, the impact of technology is easily recognized, whether it's the Kodak Brownie camera utilizing roll film, or Polaroid giving us immediate gratification. Each innovation made photography more accessible. In 1990, photography fundamentally changed, starting with Adobe releasing Photoshop and pioneering image editing and unlocking the door to photo manipulation outside of the traditional darkroom. The rapid adoption of DSLR cameras, each with their own proprietary RAW format, led to the proliferation of digital images across desktop hard drives. And as a result, Adobe introduced Lightroom to manage, organize, and edit your catalog of images on your desktop, giving you that ultimate control, and developed the open DNG file format to standardize raw photography workflows. The camera phone marked a new era, and suddenly we all are photographers. Social media ushered in a new era. Social media ushered in us casually photo taking and sharing and becoming that daily activity for billions of us. So where are we today? Technology and photography continue to evolve, and even more photos are being captured across a wide variety of devices. We don't want to be tied to the desktop, and the solutions remain disjointed and too constrained. We've been cobbling things together to adapt to our changing needs. And as much as we love Lightroom, it was developed for a desktop-centric photography workflow, and we need a more flexible system across more devices. We need more than a single application. We need a new system. Today, I'm excited to announce that we've built you that system, Lightroom CC. And a big part of that system is the all-new Lightroom CC desktop app that's been completely reimagined, redesigned, and rebuilt to work fully with the cloud. With the new Lightroom CC, we have a complete photography system across desktop, mobile, and web that enables you to edit, organize, store, and share from anywhere. Our new Lightroom CC service gives you all the power of Adobe's world-class imaging technology, combined with Adobe Sensei's artificial intelligence capabilities. This powerful, intuitive, modern app system is accessible to everyone on any device. Let's take a look at Lightroom for everyone who loves photography. As you can see, Lightroom CC is a complete photography system across desktop, mobile, and web. But we know that a lot in the now Lightroom Classic. Rest assured, we'll continue to improve it as we develop out the new service. In fact, today, we're updating Lightroom Classic with significant performance improvements and editing enhancements. And now, I'd like to introduce Brian O'Neill-Hughes, someone that I've worked with for many years, to show you how the all-new Lightroom CC that he uses almost daily complements his photography workflow.
Thank you, guys. I'm thrilled to share the entirely new Lightroom CC, and I'm really honored to show it as well. A really long time ago, about 2006, I think, I got to show one of the first public betas of what would become Lightroom, and it's been an amazing journey. There were a lot less people in that demo. So thank you, Maria and Winston and the whole team for giving me this honor. I want to start by saying that Lightroom really is a complete system, and as such, we're going to look at it across a few different screens. I'm going to look at it on the desktop, on the Surface Book 2, the 15-inch. This is a brand new device that was just announced yesterday. And then we're going to move over to the iPad Pro and Apple Pencil, and then over to the iPhone 8 Plus. And then I'll come back to the web. So we're going to look at it across a lot of different screens. We've really worked on making this consistent, so it's going to look very familiar across them. I'll make sure and tell you when I'm moving. OK, so let's start on the desktop, because this is where we've done the most work. And the first thing that we notice on the desktop, the only thing that we notice on the desktop, is the images. This is the center of my workflow. And I have a lot of images here. Not only do I have a lot of images in this collection, but I have thousands, tens of thousands. I have access to all of my images wherever I am, and that's a really big part of this system. And of course, I have a lot of different ways of finding what I'm looking for. I've got stars, I've got flags, I've got cameras and locations. I should note, and you'll see this on screen, I don't have any keywords. I've never had any keywords. I'm terrible about this. Feels good to get that off my chest. I've never done it. I know I'm supposed to, but I never, ever have. And what's wonderful with Lightroom CC is this is where Adobe Sensei comes in. Because searching in Lightroom CC is as simple as just typing in what you're looking for. So I've got well over 100 images in this collection. Let's just search for cat, something fairly simple. And I see all of the cats in this collection, very different cats. Let's give it something a little more challenging. Let's look at horses, plural, more than one horse. Lots of pictures of me and my kids, and my wife, and more than one horse. Let's look at people. I'm just typing these in, no keywords, and Sensei is doing all of the work, gives me the results with the people. Like any proud father, I take tons of pictures of my children. So let's constrain this to kid. And what do I get back? I get back my boys, Miles and Liam, me as a child, and my goat as well. Technically correct. Well played, Sensei. All right, so let's take this image of Miles. And I actually shot this with Lightroom CC on the phone, which allows me to capture a raw DNG file. And I love the composition of my son in this shot, but it's a little bit dark. So let's talk about editing in the new Lightroom CC. Lots of different controls here, tons of power. This could be intimidating to some people. We also have some wonderful presets. And what's great about the presets here is that as I scroll over them, I get a preview and I see the sliders moving, so they're educating me on how Lightroom CC works. Now for this particular image, I'm just going to click one button to adjust the tonality. I'm going to click Auto. And if you notice, it dynamically adjusted the image. It moved a bunch of sliders based upon the content of the image. Did a really nice job. Now this being a raw file, I can adjust the temperature and the tint really quickly and easily, and it looks wonderful. So I'm really pleased with that image. Those changes will be reflected across any device I look at. Not only are the photos in the cloud, but the settings are as well. OK, so let me search for another image really quickly here. Let's do desert truck. I'm going to combine where I was with the subject. And I get a host of different returns there. This is an unedited file that I shot recently on a trip. And with this one, I want to make it look sort of weathered and older, kind of like those older cameras Maria was mentioning before. Again, I'm going to start with auto. I use auto for everything. And when the old days auto was a bad word, auto is really smart now, and it works really, really well. I'm going to reduce the contrast on this image. I'm going to reduce the saturation a little. Again, I'm looking for this sort of older aesthetic. Let me soften the clarity, just make it sort of look a little dusty, and give it a slight vignette or darken the corners. I'm going to apply a crop. Let's do a simple 1:1 crop here. Again, sort of a square look like those old Brownie cameras. And I should stress that cropping, like everything, I can undo that later because this is all non-destructive. Now, lots of different things I can do here. I can copy settings, I can revert to the original, I could go over to Photoshop. But at this point, what I want to do is I want to talk about the connection between these devices. So let's move from the desktop, let's move from this cool new Surface Book 2 over to the iPad Pro. And I love the iPad Pro. I've got one of these in my camera bag. What it allows me to do is immediately move my images into this system. And I can edit wherever I am. It's wonderful workflow. As soon as I launch Lightroom CC here, it's really important to note that not only do I see the images, but I see them just as I left them. Here's the image of Miles that's corrected. Here's the image that I just worked on. And while I spent quite a bit of time on this on the desktop, I can use this image. I can just copy the settings from it. I'm going to copy everything except for the crop. And I can drop those settings onto another image. So this is a shot that I took in Cuba recently. And I'm just going to go ahead and paste those settings in there. And I can go ahead and change that a little as well. Maybe I want to bring the vignette in, round it out, soften it. I have all of that control. I have all of that flexibility. Now, before I leave the iPad Pro here, there is one thing about the shot of Miles that bothers me a little, and it's that his eyes are dark. And this is why professional photographers use a flash outdoors. I didn't do that in this case, but that's OK, because I've got some wonderful selective edits here, brush-based edits. And so I'm going to use Apple Pencil to just come in here and ever so lightly scribble over his eyes there. Don't worry, I'm not going to do anything spooky here. Just going to open up the shadows just a tiny bit. And maybe adjust the color while I'm in here. Go away from that warm cast to the cool blue. I don't want to go too Paul Newman there. Somewhere right in between. I'm really pleased with that. Love using Apple Pencil for that. OK, so obviously I can do some serious work there on the iPad. Let's move over to the phone now. The phone is the device that we all have with us all the time. We have it with us constantly, and we use it to shoot and to share. Well, with this new system, there's every reason that we can use it to edit as well. So I'm going to take the iPhone here. I'm going to launch Lightroom CC. And again, you'll see Miles with the brighter eyes there, the car in the truck that we edited, the image from Cuba, all synced, all up to date. Now, here's an image that I shot with the Leica Q. It's a full resolution file. It's a 24 megapixel file. and it needs a lot of work. I love the image, but it needs a lot of work. So let's edit this one here. The first thing I'll do is straighten it out. Compositionally, it's kind of a nightmare. I was literally standing in the snow when I took this. So I'm going to move that up and get that nice rule of thirds overlay. That looks better. There's two problems with this image. There's the foreground and there's the sky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use selective edits. And first, let's drop one on the foreground. And with the foreground, what I want to do is just desaturate it. It's got this sort of cold cast, so I want to desaturate that. And then the other thing I want to do is soften it a little. It's just a little bit distracting. Soften that right in the foreground there. Now, it looks better, but it's still missing the drama in the sky. So that's OK. I'm going to add another selective edit. And just as I'm doing this, for those of you who use Lightroom, I think it's amazing that I can apply multiple graduated edits to a full resolution RAW file on my phone. It blows my mind. Okay. Yeah, right? Photographers. I can come in here, I can warm that up, and the drama, for me, I love dehaze. I can use dehaze here, which acts like polarized sunglasses to just cut through that atmospheric haze. So there it is, before and after. Now, at this point, before and after. Thank you. At this point, there's a lot of different things that I can do with the images. Of course, I can share them to social or share them locally. But keep in mind, these files, they live in the cloud. So sharing full resolution files, no matter how many you have, is as simple as sending a link. So let's go back to the desktop and look at the web experience here. Because again, this is a complete system, and I can go to the web as well. Here I am on the web. It looks very consistent. I see those same images just as I left them, and you'll notice that I have a link, and I can send this link around, and people can collaborate or give me feedback, and of course, download the full resolution files. Now, if I'm a Creative Cloud member or a Creative Cloud Photography Plan member, I also have Adobe Portfolio. If you guys haven't used this, you should check it out. It allows you to build your own photo website really quickly and easily. Now, I have a lot of images, so I've already started this process. Let me just show you how it works. If I want to come in here and preview this, not only can I preview images here locally on the desktop, but if I want to see how this looks on a phone, I can pull that up as well. And when I'm ready, I just go ahead and I push that over right there to my live site. That's bhughes.myportfolio.com, and there's all of my images. So lots of ways to share. So we looked at a lot of things across a lot of different devices. The new Surface Book 2, the iPad Pro, the phone, back on the web. I want to tell you guys on a personal note, because Maria mentioned this is for people who love photography. I love Lightroom, and I've loved Lightroom since day one. I transitioned to this new system about 1.5 years ago, and I have never looked back. I've been using it ever since, and I love it. And I think you guys are going to love it too. So before I hand things back to Maria, I just want to say thank you very much for this honor. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
So Brian showed you how easy it is to access all your photos from any device, and how seamlessly you can make non-destructive edits because everything is stored in the cloud. Everything we shared is available today. The complete Lightroom CC system, Lightroom Classic, and Portfolio are included in your Creative Cloud All Apps plan. So if you're an All Apps member, you have all this. And one of our most popular plans, Creative Cloud Photography, just got better. The all-new Lightroom CC, Lightroom Classic, Photoshop, Portfolio, Spark Premium, as Michael showed you earlier, and cloud storage. So, download your desktop and mobile apps, sign in with your Adobe ID, and get started. I can't wait to see how you capture your world with Lightroom. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria and Brian. Really exciting. I think you see that we're ready to set the stage for the next decade of revolution in digital photography with Lightroom CC. I'm getting kind of full. How are you guys feeling? I mean, it feels like we just showed up at a creative potluck and everyone brought dessert, right? Okay. We got a few more things to share with you today. Let's talk about video. As you know, the creative canvas has evolved significantly over the past few years. It's gotten larger, more diverse, and more dynamic, including immersive 360-degree experiences. Immersive video is an area we're particularly excited, especially following our acquisition of Skybox from Metal. Skybox represents the state-of-the-art in 360-degree video and virtual reality technology. It's been integrated now directly in the heart of our video tools, and we're going to show you that today. This fall's update of the Creative Cloud for video will help filmmakers and video professionals continue to deliver very high-impact experiences with major innovations in virtual reality, animation, motion graphics, editing, and collaboration. What I'd like to do now is invite Jason Levine, our principal worldwide evangelist for digital video. Sounds like they know Jason. Okay, let's have Jason join us and show you what's on video. Jason?
Thanks, Brian. Hello. Very nice to see you all. I'm here today to talk to you about some of the latest innovations coming to our digital video and audio products. And I'm going to start in Premiere Pro talking about motion graphics templates. Now, these were designed and introduced earlier this year as part of the Essential Graphics panel, really as a way to give editors all the basic tools they need to build animation, text, and titles right inside of Premiere Pro without ever having to leave the interface, without ever having to go to After Effects. Well, today we're introducing responsive design-based motion graphics templates. Now, many of you will know this concept from the web. The same really applies here, where we're basically allowing editors to leverage and reuse these templates on any video, regardless of frame size or aspect ratio, as well as the ability to preserve time-based animation, regardless of duration. So here I've got a little sequence that I've been working on for something called The Last Horizon. And you'll see I've got a very simple animated graphic here that I want to create as a template. And I always want it to appear in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. So I'm going to select this graphic, go into our Essential Graphics panel, and select my text layer. And what you'll now see is that we have an option for responsive design positioning, where I have the ability to not only pin layers to other layers, but in this case, I can pin the text to a specific point of the video frame, in this case, the bottom right-hand corner. I'm going to right-click here and export this as a motion graphics template. Naturally, I'll save this, give it a name here, to my shared CC library so that anyone that I'm collaborating with will instantly have access to this, so the people who are creating my social media versions of this same video, which are likely to be square or vertical for Instagram or vertical for Snapchat, can do just that and get the same exact experience. So here we go. Let's wind this back. You can see we've got a square aspect ratio. I'll go into my CC libraries. I'll grab the motion graphics template that we just created. I'll drag it down. I'll hit play, and it appears in the bottom right-hand corner exactly where it's supposed to. Responsively. Let's talk about responsive design time. Time-based animation. So here is a title sequence where we have The Last Horizon fly on at 1 second and 10 frames, and then a second line appears, and then it flies off over 20 frames. And regardless of how long we stretch out this template, I always want The Last Horizon to fly on over 1 second and 10 frames and fly off over 20 frames. But once again, let's select that template, go into Essential Graphics, and now you see an option for responsive design time, where we actually give you specific intro and outro durations. And if you take a look at the effects controls here, what you'll actually see is that any keyframed information that exists in the gray areas here will always be preserved. And any keyframed animation that exists in between those gray areas gets squeezed or stretched accordingly. So, if next week's title sequence intro is that much longer, let's go ahead and wind this back to the beginning. I'll take my template, drag it out, play it back, flies on over 1 second and 10 frames. The second line lingers a little bit longer, but again, The Last Horizon flies off over 20 frames. If the following week it's that much shorter, let's go ahead and do the same thing here. I'll make this entire thing a bit shorter, drag it down like this, take my template, drag it down over here, and you can actually see that even on the template itself, it gives you visual indicators to show you it's preserving those time durations. Wind it back, hit play, and there it is, second line, and off the screen. Just like that. Responsive design motion graphics templates. Thank you. Now, you may be looking at these and thinking, these look terrible. They kind of do. I made them, and I'm not a designer. Hashtag duh. That's very clear. Obvious. Wouldn't it be amazing if there was some way for you to access professionally, beautifully crafted, designed motion graphics templates? Well, as Ash mentioned earlier, we've been doing a lot of stuff, adding a lot of new content to Adobe Stock. And we're very happy to announce today that in Adobe Stock, you have access to hundreds and hundreds of motion graphics templates in multiple styles, backgrounds, lower thirds, title sequences, pretty much everything you can imagine, created with responsive nature. We have ones that are built specifically in After Effects. We even have a master artist collection created by some of the most well-known and respected motion graphics designers in the industry, including Brian Maffett, Nick Hill, Valentina V, even Andrew Kramer has lent his brilliance to our collections. And all of these can be downloaded and licensed directly to your CC libraries, and they're fully editable. So in the case of this dramatic thriller one here, again, looking inside the Essential Graphics panel, this just kind of gives you an idea of some of all the vast amounts of editability that you have. So you can customize with your own colors, your look, your feel, and integrate them into your productions and make them super awesome. Motion graphics templates in Adobe Stock. 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 And some are free. But not all of them. You have to pay for some. Segueing over to VR and immersive workflows. Brian mentioned that we've been doing a lot of work in the 360 VR space. And here we have some content that was shot in Venice in 6K. And one of the most common things people want to do is integrate text and titles and imagery or video inside that 360 immersive environment. So what we're going to do here is I've got a motion graphics template that I actually created. Let's go ahead and drag this in, place it inside the timeline here, drag it out a little bit like this. And in this, what we're looking at here, this is known as the equirectangular frame. It looks okay. It's not great. But when we go into the viewer, it's really bent and skewed. Something's not right, because this text was never really designed to be projected in this space. For that, we need a specific effect. And as Brian mentioned, with the metal effects now directly integrated in today's update of Premiere Pro and After Effects, rebranded as immersive, if we go to immersive and twirl down, the one we are looking for is VR plane to sphere. So let's go ahead and drag this over top of our motion graphics template, and you can see that it automatically looks better. Let's go ahead and scale this up a bit. This will act like a Z-depth control, something like that. And then we're going to twirl down the rotate projection, because what if I want to actually reorient that text along the side of the wall here? I can do that as well, just by, oh, not that one, sorry. Let's go ahead and drag the Y-axis here, just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and hit play. And all of these effects are now GPU accelerated, which means that you can get incredible real-time performance, even in 6K, there's some creepy clowns right there, with all of this stuff happening simultaneously. Now, another element, of course, of telling your story in 360 and VR are using transitions. Now, we need specific transitions for 360 VR. Typically, when we use transitions, it's really to cut us from scene to scene. But in VR, these are really used more as narrative devices, to push us through, to move us through the scene. But once again, under immersive, you will see video immersive transitions. I'm going to go ahead and pull in a couple of my favorites here, light rays and light leaks. The really nice thing about these is that they function just like traditional transitions, except if you look again here on that equirectangular frame, it kind of gives you an idea of how it moves through the frame that much differently. Let's go ahead and go into our VR viewer here, play this back. Again, you can totally navigate as it's doing its thing. All right, just like that. Let's wind this a little bit faster. There we go. Keep on playing. And go from the piazza to the gondola, just like that, which is very appropriate being here at the Venetian, don't you think? Okay. We didn't even plan that. That's right. All right. Now, what about giving editors even more control, the ability to really see and experience that immersive environment for you, the viewers, their customers, before they upload, before they go to Facebook? This is something that you couldn't do yesterday. Well, today in Premiere Pro, via an Oculus Rift or an HTC Vive, your editors can put on that headset and they can get inside that immersive environment and they can actually navigate Premiere Pro's sequence, the timeline, and experience that immersive feeling of being inside the sphere and really have that full VR 360 with spatial ambisonic audio experience before they publish, before they go to YouTube and Facebook. And these are just some of the incredible innovations coming to today's updates of the video and audio products. Motion graphics templates in Adobe stock. Thank you very much.
We all sit backstage and draw straws to see who has to follow Jason. So we've talked about alternate reality, virtual reality. We joke about Jason's alternate reality. What energy. But I think you guys see, we've set the stage for a whole new era in video with immersive experiences and motion graphic design. It'll make it easy to edit, share, and collaborate, even on the most sophisticated, engaging video projects. We also have news today. We showed Character Animator last year in beta. It's another exciting announcement we're making is that Character Animator now is out of beta. For those of you who didn't have a chance to see the demonstration, it's a live 2D animation tool that lets you take and simplify the art of taking a puppet and bringing that to life. And so a two-dimensional puppet and to assign behaviors to that puppet and bring it to life. And it's also part of your core CC All Apps membership. So very proud to announce taking Character Animator out of the box today. So, a real brief recap. Eric and Ash walked us through very, very good, significant experience enhancements that we made in the flagship applications. Then we had Jamie, Coy, Zorana, and Michael, who showed how we're fundamentally rethinking design, making it easy for creative storytelling with Adobe Spark, taking the wraps off of XD that's really going to transform the whole design to prototyping workflow. And then finally with Adobe Dimension, really bringing a new dimension of reality to the art of two-dimension design for product shots, et cetera. So feel really good about the investments and the innovations that we're bringing to the design category overall. And then Maria and Brian just showed us the innovation we're bringing to the next wave of photography with the Lightroom CC system. Really fundamentally rethinking how we make a streamlined photography service, multi-surface, come to life for everybody, not just professionals, but for enthusiasts and everybody who really wants to engage in photography. Finally, Jason did what Jason does, and I'm not going to dwell on that any longer. I know that by this time you may feel like you've been hit by a lot, and you have. You're not wrong. We said that this is the biggest Max ever, and I think we've held true to that. We couldn't be more excited about all the new innovations that we brought today, and the brand new tools, especially the brand new tools that we've actually invested in, and I think you guys are going to love. And even better, all these new apps and all these new updates are part of your Creative Cloud subscription. So go ahead and download those today. I'm thrilled that we've shown you today. I think it demonstrates the heart of what Adobe's commitment is to you. We are deeply committed to developing the next generation experiences that meet your needs and that will continue to grow with you. We are a constant innovation machine in creativity. We're building experiences that are modern, that are adaptable, and that are designed for today's dynamic creativity and design environment. You've also heard us touch on this several times, how artificial intelligence and machine learning and Adobe Sensei are at the heart of Creative Cloud. And touching on Sensei, there's a lot more to come. This is a great time for me to segue to our next presenter, who will expand on our artificial intelligence strategy and give you a glimpse of the future of where we're taking Sensei over the horizon. Please join me now in welcoming Abhi Parasnis, Adobe's Chief Technology Officer, to the stage.
Thank you, Brian. It's great to be here with all of you. I don't know whose idea it was, but following Jason Levine, clearly I didn't think this one through, so let's see how it goes. Jokes aside, it's been an extraordinary morning. As you can see, we have been focused on continuously improving all the tools and applications that you all rely on every single day. At the same time, we are pushing the limits of innovation like never before. In fact, this Max is actually one of the best Macs ever in terms of delivering brand new creative applications. New Lightroom, XD, Dimension, Character Animator, Spark. Each of these are not only category-defining applications, they are also shaping the modern creative platform. We are thrilled to be able to put these applications in your hands today, and we can't wait to see what you create with them. Now, before I talk about the future, I do want to talk a little bit about the journey we have been on with you. So from the very beginning, we have been laser-focused on designing industry-leading creative tools that allow all of you to tell amazing stories. Then, with Creative Cloud, we blurred and embraced a multi-cloud, multi-device world by blurring the lines between all our tools with content and services in the cloud. We believe, as we look ahead, the next major step in this journey is creative intelligence, where we can transform the entire creative process by combining advances in AI and machine learning with deep knowledge and understanding of the entire creative community. So on this stage last year, we announced our big bet in AI, Adobe Sensei. Earlier today, Shantanu spoke about how Adobe is empowering a 21st century creative renaissance and how Sensei tackles the challenges of today's complex design environment and letting you focus on tomorrow's possibilities. Throughout the keynote this morning, you saw examples of how Sensei is enabling creative professionals to be more productive, giving you more time to focus on what you do best, being creative. Now, as we look at this journey, without question, AI represents the most disruptive paradigm shift of the next decade. From voice assistants to self-driving cars, it's already changing the world. And it's bound to change how all of us work in profound ways. We have a very deep conviction on this, and in fact, we are aggressively embracing this future with Sensei. So, of course, what does this mean for all of you? Some in the industry believe that AI may ultimately replace humans for a lot of activities. At Adobe, we have a very different viewpoint on this. Our fundamental belief is that Sensei will amplify human creativity and intelligence, not replace it. It will free you from doing repetitive, mundane tasks, and because it understands deeply how you work, Sensei can, in fact, help you focus on that very unique creative expression that only humans can do. Now, to achieve this goal, we have built Sensei with two very unique approaches. First, it learns from hundreds of millions of assets that are managed within our creative tools. Second, it is purpose-built with a very deep understanding of the creative and design domains, learning from all of you who use our tools every day. In effect, each of you are actually training the Sensei creative fabric. With our long heritage of creative tools and working closely with the creative community, only Adobe can do this. So since we started on this journey, we have focused Sensei on three core intelligence domains. First is computational creativity, where Sensei models are being trained on imaging, video, design, illustration, thus allowing designers and artists to push the creative boundaries. With experience intelligence, we are enabling brands and businesses to drive deep personalization and measurement of all the great experiences you are creating. And finally, Sensei is focused on deeply understanding content by using deep learning techniques to search, tag, and extract meaning out of a wide range of creative assets and documents. Now, as we started this journey, we have been rapidly rolling out dozens and dozens of exciting intelligence features. And here at Max today, we are announcing a very broad range of Sensei-powered features across the entire Creative Cloud portfolio. From intelligent search in Lightroom to face tracking in Character Animator, you can start experiencing Sensei-powered innovations today. So what's next? Now, with this core foundation in place, we are beginning to explore ways to truly transform the entire creative workflow. This is by far one of the most exciting innovation areas within Creative Cloud. We see interaction with a creative assistant using just natural language and voice. Recommendations and creative actions will happen in real time based on how you work, anticipating the next tool and the next asset even before you search for it. And all of this will be powered by a creative graph that deeply understands the language of creativity and design. Now, of course, we don't expect each of you to change all your existing workflows or become AI experts to use these tools. So Sensei will seamlessly integrate in context of your working style. It will be there when you need it and out of the way when you don't. So before we wrap up this morning, we want to give you, just 12,000 of our closest friends, a sneak peek of what we are working on in our labs. To do that, let me invite to stage Adobe Fellow David Nussler. David?
As a fellow at Adobe, I get to work on our future technology, and today I'm really excited to share with you 3 of my personal favorites from our labs. I'm convinced that all 3 of those have great potential to accelerate your creativity using Sensei. So let's jump in and look at the first one. The first one is what I call natural interaction. So let me orient you a little bit what you see on my screen. What you see on my screen is a prototype version of Photoshop, and it looks very similar to what you're used to, but there is one little detail on the top right that you see here, this blue dot. And this blue dot gives me access to the Sensei surface. So as soon as I open that up, we get to see a little bit what's going on behind the scenes, what Sensei is thinking as I'm working away here. It also gives me access to the creative assistants, but I'll talk about this a little bit later. So let's assume I need to create a splash screen for an iPad app. And what I have is a sketch. And I have a sketch of what that should look like. And as I drag and drop this into, keep your eyes a little bit to the top right and see what's happening under the surface. So I'll move it over here, and I'll drop it. And you see that as soon as I drop it, Sensei kind of does the same thing that we humans do. We look at this picture, we sort of analyze, his neurons are firing, we get the concept, we understand that there is a woman on here, there's a spaceship, there is some stars and planets and so forth. And exactly like that, Sensei does the same thing. And this is really important, so let me quickly show you what that looks like. So what Sensei extracted, without me doing anything, is just understanding that these are some objects that it found here. It read my handwriting, it has women, stars, etc., spaces, spaceship. It knows that this is a galactical theme that I'm going after here. So what's really important now is obviously this is a very natural way to interact with Sensei, but let's try one more thing. What is more natural than actually speaking to this? So let's quickly click on our creative assistant here, and let's see if it can do some work for us. Find some images based on my sketch. And you see, just like that, Sensei went through all my assets that I have here, tagged this slightly different through Adobe stock, and found a lot of assets that may be useful for my creative journey right from here. If you think about it, a sketch and some words, it doesn't get more natural than this. The second concept that I want to introduce you to is something that we call content intelligence. And content intelligence is where Sensei helps me to run through hundreds of thousands, hundreds of millions of images and helps me find the right one. So we see that on the right-hand side, based on that galactical theme that we had in our sketch, Sensei selected a background from stock that I kind of like. It's kind of contextual, but I'm not 100% sure it's exactly what I'm looking for my creation. So I'll click right here to send the context of Sensei to that asset right here, and let's see what Sensei can do to help me with this. I can click on the full screen mode right here and see all the information that Sensei has aggregated about that image. Now we see that it knows that there's stars on it, there's galaxies on it, it's a space, and obviously I can filter through the hundreds of millions of images that we have in a completely natural way. So I can take the vibrance, for example, down, and we saw that in an earlier demo today, and that's super useful. But at the same time, Sensei understands the concept, so it understands that there are stars, and stars have size and density. And so I can quickly say, I want something that has less stars on it and has the density a little bit down, maybe the size a notch down, and I really land with a background that I like for my creation. So I quickly double-click that, add it to my canvas right here. So this is super simple and shows you how we can deal with millions of curated assets that we have in stock. But what about the images that I have myself? The images that came back from a photo shoot, the tens of thousands of images that all look exactly the same way. So you see that I have an image of a model right here, of the actor right here. I'm going to drag that in. And now keep in mind, and this is something that I've done so many times myself, and I'm going back to the full screen mode in the meantime, keep in mind those tens of thousands of images that come back from the photo shoot. Scrolling through them gets you cross-eyed just looking at them. But if somebody now comes back to you and says, yeah, I like this image, but I want her to look to the right, that's the moment in time where you really lose it and you realize I have to go through these 10,000 photos again to do that. Now, not with the help of Sensei. So I'll quickly see that I have features that I get extracted here. Of course, very different from the one that I had on the Galaxy. So I see a face here. I see that the face has different vectors. It, for example, has a left and a right dimension. Like, am I looking to the left? Am I looking to the right? That's super interesting. So watch this. This is actually amazing. This is one of my favorite pieces of this demo. So I select left and right, and as soon as I click on this, it zooms in on the image, and I can just move the slider to move through everything just with the orientation of left and right on this particular image. So now if my creative director says, well, I like one where she looks a little bit to the right, maybe this one right here. Let me quickly pick this one. And you see it automatically zooms out again and gives me the full picture. And I can just double-click this and add this to my canvas. And now this is not where the content intelligence stops. The content intelligence actually goes a lot further into the asset, and Sensei can distinguish between the foreground and the background. And as you guys all know, masking this hair in the background would be a real piece of work, to say it nicely. So I'll just quickly click on this, and Sensei automatically masks this for me, and I can move this in place. So now I generally like where this is going, but I need a spaceship, I need a robot, I need a planet, and so forth. And the one thing that I told myself, I'm not actually going to show you 12,000 creative geniuses how I use Photoshop, because that would be very, very demoralizing for myself. So I have something prepared. So this is the splash screen. I kind of like it, and it really takes me to the third phase of my demo, through the third concept that I like to share with you. It's a concept that I call design intelligence, and it shows that Sensei can learn from my personal styles, from things that I do, from styles that I develop. And you see that a couple of smart templates that have been automatically created by Sensei are available for me here. I can bring that up. I can select some text for a text treatment right here, and I'll type in the last horizon right here, and I get to see some of the treatments that I've used in the past on similar projects without doing anything. I kind of like that. I'll double-click it and add it right again to the canvas. But design intelligence, of course, goes much further, and this takes me outside of Photoshop into XD. So let's say we have our full app that we created here in XD, And that's one of the most tedious jobs that all of you who have done responsive know. Now somebody says, well, but we need this app on the iPhone, right? So let's see what our creative agent can do now with this layout that we have here, and how the creative assistant can help me with this. So let's click on here and let's try to give it some instructions. Create iPhone 8 layouts. And you see automatically there are some layouts that are automatically created, relayouted, reflowed, everything that I had. And as the human, of course, I get to choose which ones I like. And of course, these are not finished. And obviously, we can refine them as we go along. But I can drag and drop them right into here. And as soon as I do that, of course, because they're derived from the original iPad app, Sensei went ahead and wired the entire thing up directly for me, which saves me a lot of work. So I have one last thing. Let's go back to Photoshop. Abe talked a lot about the creative graph. And the creative graph, think of it as a way of Sensei keeping track of every creative decision that I'm making throughout the process of creating this wonderful asset. Now, we came up with a very simplified visualization for that, and we want to show you what it looks like and how it works. So I can bring up all the graph of my creative decisions that led to this asset right here. Now, what's really interesting is, very often at the end of the creative process, I personally go back and think, well, what would have happened if I would have gone down a different route? So the creative graph doesn't just give you a recording of that, but it also lets you interact with things as we go along. Remember that face decision we made, where we said she should look a little bit more to the right? What would have happened if she looked a little bit more straight up into the camera? And you saw maybe the slider came back here, and I can just revisit that, and Sensei automatically recreates something for me. So let's go a little bit further up. Let's go higher up and say, you remember the initial sketch, right? And it had one particular character on it, and we want to say, what would have happened if we had a different cast member, if we had a different character in this thing? And of course, I could go back in and drag and drop a new sketch and see what would have happened. But as simple as I click here, I can create something with a different character right here, and just click it and see what Sensei comes up with, and directly create the artboard from here, so I can go in and manipulate that. So these are just a few of the avenues that we're exploring with Sensei to keep up with the speed of your creativity. Thank you. Innovation that lets you focus on the creative work you love without the technology getting into your way. That's what we're striving for. Thank you so much for inspiring us.
Thanks, David. That's some pretty serious Sensei magic. I hope you guys enjoyed that. So at Adobe, we carefully listen to all of you as we build products and applications that address all of your current needs. At the same time, we have always focused on looking around the corner, inventing and building deep new technologies that advance state-of-the-art for creative expression. This blending of art and science is deeply embedded in our DNA, and in fact is what drives us to every day innovate for you. Sensei and creative intelligence is the next major chapter in this mission for us, and we are making a generational bet on this platform. We are truly excited about the future possibilities, and we hope that you join us on this journey. Hope you have a great Max. Back to you, Brian.
Thank you, Abe and David. We're excited about all the advances that we're making with the Sensei platform, and quite frankly, on our engineering teams, we can't wait to unleash that with the sorts of experiences that Abe and David shared with you today. It's clear that Sensei will make it easier to push the boundaries and really help you unleash creativity in new ways, and I can't wait to see where we go next with that. What a day. I want to thank all of you for joining us at this year's Max. I want to thank the partners, the sponsors, the entire Adobe team, and the more than 1,200 of you that took the time to come out and spend a couple of days with us. I think you get a real sense that the passion that we feel for this community is very real. We respect your craft and we want to help you accelerate your creativity. Through exceptional experiences like the ones that we showcased today, we truly believe that working together with these new platforms of innovation and new creative experiences that we can change the world with you. To keep the inspiration flowing over the next few days, we have a fantastic lineup of speakers and experiences. We're going to kick it off tomorrow. Our own Ann Loons is actually going to host a session tomorrow with some of our favorite celebrities, starting with wildlife photographer Annie Griffiths and actor and director Jon Favreau, and it just keeps getting better. And then the next few days, our goal is to inspire you to push the boundaries, to seek out new possibilities, to continue to redefine the way that you work. If you're watching the keynote today online, make sure that you join us on Behance, where we will be streaming live from Max for the rest of the week. Enjoy the rest of today, and we'll see you all back here tomorrow morning. Thank you.